Hi, Sam Roberts here for ProRaster Scientific. Today we're going to do some vegetation analysis down at Macquarie Island. So I've got Bing maps here. You can see Australia and New Zealand. And Macquarie Island is down here. If you follow this plate boundary, there's a underwater mountain complex, and then you find Macquarie Island right down here in the Southern Ocean, way down south. Sticking out on the edge of that plate boundary. So it's kind of it's an Australian territory, but geographically it's sort of more related to New Zealand, and it's basically halfway to Antarctica. So there was an article on the ABC in Australia a while ago, and they're talking about a pest eradication program. So they've knocked off all of the rabbits and mice and rats and other pests from Macquarie Island over a period of time, and the result of that is that the vegetation has sprung back to life. So you can see here a shot of the island with the tussock grass and so forth, the sort of cabbages and mega herbs that they have. There's a rabbit. He's no longer with us, as are none of his friends. And anyway, you can see that some researchers went down to Macquarie Island. Here's what it looked like in a more degraded state, and now it's covered with grass. So those researchers went down to Macquarie Island and ground truthed it and had a look. And of course, it's not easy to get to Macquarie Island. It is way down in the Southern Ocean. I imagine it can be quite a harrowing journey down there in rough seas, but today we're going to go there in our spaceship, and of course our spaceship is Landsat. So we're going to do a Landsat analysis of the vegetation at Macquarie Island. So I will be using ProRaster Scientific today. You can purchase ProRaster Scientific on the Microsoft Store. It costs $500 and that will be converted into your local currency. So make sure you have a Microsoft account, link your credit card to that account, and then you can go and purchase software from the Microsoft Store. Once you've done that, there's nothing more to pay, and you own the software for life. You could take it with you wherever you go. As long as you log into your account, you can then download and install that software on any future machine that you work with. So I went to Earth Explorer, USGS website, and I downloaded 17 Landsat scenes. And you might not be able to see this, but the scene numbers are from path 79, row 98, and path 80, row 98. So way down south, of course, the satellite paths are starting to converge together. So at Macquarie Island, you get twice as much coverage, or twice as many revisits of the satellite as you would at the equator. So you've got lots of data to choose from. Unfortunately, that doesn't help you, because there has not been a cloud-free day down at Macquarie Island in the last 30 years. It just hasn't happened. It's always cloudy, always windswept, I suppose. And that's why the seabirds love it. Anyway, so we're going to bring this data into ProRaster Scientific. So here's ProRaster Scientific. So let's go to our multispectral Earth Observation imagery section. I'm going to add scenes to a new database by searching for folders, and I'll call this Macquarie Island Demo. Demo. MI Demo. Hit OK. And then I'm going to browse to that folder where I have all my Macquarie Island data. Satellite, Macquarie Island, there it is. So here's all my Landsat folders. Hit OK, and that's going to bring that all in. And we now have our scene browser. So let's sort by acquisition date. You can see that I've got a set of data from around the year 2000. I've gone through and tried to find scenes that are relatively cloud-free. So you can sort in Earth Explorer. You can set a cloud limit. Unfortunately, that's based on the amount of cloud that's in the scene in total. And the scenes down here in the Southern Ocean are 99% water. We don't care if there's cloud over the water, we only care if there's cloud over the land. But you can't select based on the percentage of cloud over land, even though that's one of the parameters that they compute, and you can show that in this spreadsheet. Here's the cloud over land. So you do have to kind of go through and pick out scenes manually to find scenes that are relatively cloud-free over the island itself. So I've got data from between 1999 and 2002. So that's all Landsat 7, and that's prior to the scanline failure in Landsat 7, so that's good data. And then I've got a second set of data from 2019 through to 2024, and that's all Landsat 8 and Landsat 9. So let's take a look at some of these scenes. So just right click and go switch to scene preview. I'm going to use natural color, and I'm going to let's not mask to start off with. So here's what a scene looks like, and here's the island over here. And as you can see, clouds over the island. We've got a bit of coverage in the south in this particular scene. We've got a bit of coverage in the north. You notice that there are lakes all over the island. So when you mask by land, those lakes will get cut out of the data. And there's quite a few lakes all over the length and breadth of the island. So if I change this now to mask by land, so now you can see that we're only retaining, as I said, some down the south. This would be a lake perhaps that's been masked out, and then some up the north on that particular scene. So let's just go back to, well, we'll leave it on that, and we'll go through some of the scenes. So here is path 79. You see that the island has moved over to the left a little bit because the scene is on the further to the west, and here we're picking up a bit of land. That's not too bad. Now I just want to come down a bit to some of the later scenes. So here we have 2024, picked up a little bit there. Next scene along, still not very good. And then the final scene, I just want to show you this scene because it's an example of how things go wrong. So here we are over the island, and you can see that the processing that USGS has applied hasn't properly identified the difference between land here and cloud here, and it's recorded this cloud as being land. And this happens from time to time. I don't know why, but if you leave these kinds of scenes in your data and then do your analysis, then you're going to get a bad analysis. You really need to weed these things out. There's only one in this particular set of scenes. And what you can do in ProRaster is right-click on the scene and set the quality tag unusable. And then it becomes, it gets this red color in the spreadsheet, and it won't be used, therefore, when you create products from the scenes. So there it is down the bottom. Okay, so let's create some products. So firstly, we're going to have to merge this data together to try and get some decent coverage of the Macquarie Island. So I'll choose my early scenes from 1999 to 2002. They're all Landsat 7. Right click, and I'm going to say create a composited Mosaic product. We'll add a new Macquarie Island demo, add a new product database. So I want the data that's oldest, because I want to compare the oldest data before they started the eradication program with the newest data after they've done the program. So if we go in here and we say order by acquisition date from latest to earliest. So then we've got the oldest ones at the top, and the newer ones down the bottom. We're going to mask by land. We only want to keep the land pixels. Let's hit OK. So here is our composited mosaic, and if we zoom in, you can see that we've got, once it catches up, you can see that we've got reasonable coverage. There is some cloud polluting some of this. Some of these things are lakes that have been removed. But there's our composited mosaic. So let's call this early time and hit close. Now let's make our late time. So we'll get our data from here to here, create a composited mosaic product, goes into there. This time I'm going to order by acquisition date, earliest to latest. So now we've got our 2024 data at the top and our 2019 data at the bottom. Masking by land, hit OK. I'm going to call this one late time. If we preview this, there's our coverage in late time. So let's start our processing. I've got the late time here, and I've zoomed into the top of the island. And here's the island, and then you can see out here that there's all sorts of other pixels which haven't been masked out. So they're obviously over the water, they're not land. But they've been inappropriately classified. So we need to do a little bit more clipping to clip out all of those bad pixels that are over the water. And our options are either to clip by polygon or to mask by raster. Of course, we're already masking because we're masking out all the water, lakes using and cloud. Now, I don't have a polygon for Macquarie Island, but what I do have is the Glow 30 digital terrain data for Australia, and that's 1 arcsecond resolution, 30 metre resolution. So we can use that as a mask. So I'll go mask by raster. Tick this off so we're not working from the input, and I'll just browse to that Glow 30, there it is. And I use that as my mask. So a mask raster simply has to define cells that are valid and cells that are invalid. And in this raster, all of the ocean is invalid. Only the cells that are over land are valid. So we can use it as a mask. So hit OK. And if we preview this now, we zoom in to that northern end as we were looking before. It'll just have to catch up. But you can see now that we're clipped to the actual land that's present at Macquarie Island, and of course we're still removing those lakes, and some other pixels are being removed because we haven't got a perfect composite, but that's a much better data set from which to compute statistics. So now we're going to compute a vegetation index. So I'll right click on this one and add my index. I'm just going to use NDVI, hit OK. No need to set any properties. Now I'm going to clean this data up a little bit, so I'm going to use the calculator, and I'm just going to clip it to the expected range of the data. So we'll clip A00, which is the input, from -1 to 1. Hit OK. And if we preview that, you'll see that we now have a computed vegetation index. So it's rendering it using the NDVI color table. So we're getting something that makes sense. Plenty of green, and up here you can see browner. And here's our lakes, of course. So now we can compute statistics. Just hit OK. And we're computing statistics. So what's happening now? Well, we're taking those 10 scenes, or however many there were, in that composite mosaic. we're masking out all of the pixels that contain cloud and that are water. We're then masking out all of the ocean pixels using the Glow30 digital terrain model. Then we're computing the spectral index. Then we're clipping it to a range of -1 to 1. And finally, we're going to compute statistics. So that's happened now. And if we look at the histogram, you can see that we've got a nice distribution. Here's 0 and here's 1. So we've got, so if we had bare earth, we expect data down here in the sort of 0 to 0.4 range. If we have good vegetation, we expect more data up here. So we're obviously getting a nice distribution skewed out to the positive values. So that's indicating that we've got some good vegetation. So let's go back to the early time, and we'll do the same thing. So I'm going to mask by raster. I wonder if that's in my recent list. No, it's not, so I just have to browse to it. I'm going to mask by raster. I'm going to compute my index NDVI, exactly the same as before. I'm going to apply my calculator expression to clip that from -1 to 1. So I'm clipping my NDVI, and then I'm going to compute statistics, hit OK. You'll notice as I go through these processing operation dialogues that I generally don't change much, if anything at all. Most of the parameters are set for you by default, and usually you can just add the operation and hit OK. Okay, so now we have statistics. So this is our early time, and you can see we've got quite a different histogram. The peak has shifted to the left substantially. So if we go and look at the summary statistics, so this is early time when we've got lots of rabbits and they've eaten everything up. We've got a mean of 0.49. We've got an upper quartile of 0.58. If I then go to our late time, go to our statistics, we have a mean of 0.62, an upper quartile of 0.74. So that is a quantifiable, measurable and substantial increase in vegetation cover. So we've got a good result there. We've definitively shown that from around year 2000 to around the year 2023-24, there's been a very substantial increase in vegetative cover on Macquarie Island. So maybe if we'll just render this and we'll show the difference. So we'll pop this one into the rendering interface. So those are early time. Now let's go to the late time, and we'll pop that one. I'm going to choose display now to layer. I've already got a rendering algorithm. I just want to add another layer to it. So let's come in here. We'll call this our late time layer, and we'll call this one our early time layer, and zoom to this one. Okay. Turn off our late time. Now it's working on quite a bit of data, so it'll take a bit of time to catch up. So now we're looking at early time. So there's the island. Let's just, which side am I on? On this side. So I'll put that over here. And let me bring this one up over here. So there's the island. That's the vegetation index for around year 2000. You can see there's not a heck of a lot of green, mostly brown. And then if I turn on the late time for 2023, once it catches up, and digs all the data out, you can see that we've got a significant greening of, there's the old, there's the new, there's the old, there's the new. So really, very visible difference, and we've been able to quantify that difference in the statistics. So you can go to your boss and say, look, we've got proof that we've actually succeeded. Getting rid of the rabbits has had a significant effect on Macquarie Island, and all the seabirds are going to be very happy. So that's Macquarie Island. Just looking at the vegetation index, a change over time as a result of a significant program, long-term program, to eliminate pest species on that island and give the native seabirds of the Southern Ocean a place to nest safely and bring up their young. Thanks for watching.